Tzu Chi Eye Clinic comes together with the help of Taiwanese and Chinese doctors at a local hospital. In a new series report, we examine the problems the middle-aged population in Taiwan now faces in taking care of their parents. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi volunteers in Myanmar recently held a free eye clinic in Yangon where they collaborated with 5 doctors from China and 3 doctors from Taiwan's Tzu Chi Hospital. Thanks to the medical services, a total of 188 patients have regained their vision after undergoing cataract surgery.
This is the 12th time that Myanmar's Tzu Chi volunteers have collaborated with the local hospital to hold a free eye clinic. Some 180 patients came here with hopes of regaining their vision.
Being unable to see makes me feel very inferior. I feel sad and worried.
While helping them put on the surgical gown, volunteers also comfort them. However, before the patients enter the operating room, the most important mission for volunteers is to be a translator.
When they are undergoing the operation, we should comfort them and ask them not to move. If they cannot meet our requirements, then it will be hard for us to communicate with them.
3 medical members from Taiwan's Tzu Chi Hospital partnered with 5 doctors from China to provide medical services in the operating room.
Though this is the first time I'm attending this event, this will not be the last time, and we will come here again in the future.
After the surgery, volunteers also conduct home visits. Sculptor Wu Mai Tantin can now use his engraving tools to showcase his skills.
Few people may help others with love, just like Master Zheng Yan.
After receiving the love from this free eye clinic, now they can see everything in the world with a clear vision.
In Italy, Tzu Chi volunteers carried out the 3rd distribution for earthquake victims, this time taking place in Borbona. The damage here is very severe as well, with many schools becoming too dangerous for students to study in. Let's take a look at their situation.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Europe carry out their 3rd distribution in Italy, in a town called Borbona, which is about 30 minutes by car from Amatrice, a heavily quake-damaged city.
There are 4 small tents in this tent area. They are for students from kindergarten to grade 2, so their ages are from 3 to 8. This tent is very cold, so in the morning they will turn on heaters. Like this morning, it is 8 degrees below zero.
When the weather gets freezing, it will create frost. Cold air will get in. It is dangerous to have a lesson in an unstable tent. It makes me worried. Besides that, there are big problems with the lessons, transportation, teaching materials, and not enough school supplies.
Despite the thick winter clothing they are wearing, they still can fight against the freezing air. Close to 30 students have been squeezing in this big tent for almost 3 months. The volunteers are discussing with the mayor about distributions.
50% of residents cannot live in their homes, so they live in campers or in small prefabricated houses.
Half of the houses in town have collapsed, but everyone still wants to rebuild the school first. This distribution is different from others. It focuses on families with school-age children and gives them financial help.
We want to stay here and rebuild this place.
After the earthquake, Tzu Chi volunteers from 10 countries came to the disaster areas to deliver relief goods. They also hope this small town will recover soon.
For their year-end celebration, Tzu Chi volunteers in Muar, Malaysia, held 2 different ceremonies. In total, 1,734 audience members joined the 2 event, while 240 bamboo coin banks were collected to help fund the construction of a local Jingsi hall. This year-end blessing ceremony also celebrates Tzu Chi's 50th anniversary with many displays of historical moments to welcome visitors. Here are 240 bamboo coin banks being donated to help build a local Jingsi hall.
很开心哦，可以祝福到别人啦。 现在就是要先进食堂哦，这样是要大家处理咯。
Among the displays are red envelopes of blessing and wisdom handed out from the year 1997 to 2015.
These are presents from Master Zhen Yan. I like them very much. I show them to my grandchildren. The envelopes are my treasures. I take good care of them.
The message the sutra adaptation conveys is something the volunteers try to actualize in their everyday life.
Every time situations arise, my heart gets lost and I get caught up in the moment. I will then listen to this song to find my way back to peace.
Receiving Master Jinyan's red envelope of blessing and wisdom, the participants walk away filled with enough gratitude to last them throughout the year. As part of the year-end ceremony held by Tzu Chi volunteers in Muar, 45 volunteers came together for a sutra adaptation performance. Though some of the onstage volunteers were busy businessmen, they still went to every rehearsal, ensuring they can do their very best when it came time to perform.
Volunteers are practicing because they want to give the best performance at the year-end ceremony in Muar.
Our biggest problem now is not having enough people, so we're still looking for people to join us. If we can't find enough people, we will narrow the formation of the ship.
These 45 volunteers are aged 14 to 78. The elderly volunteers even consider the performance a form of exercise, so they don't consider it being difficult.
For 50 people, if someone leaves, they must find another person. It isn't so difficult, so we should just hang in there. It's just that we are a bit slow.
Doing this is like doing exercise, so I don't feel this is difficult. This is a type of persistence.
The year end is coming, so companies are busy. But performing volunteers who own businesses still come for practice.
I'm really busy, but I do my best to accommodate the rehearsal. We schedule our time. If you asked me 1 year ago to perform, I would say I was too busy to come, or I didn't know how I could take part. I would have too many excuses, but actually, it is in our minds. If we really want to come out, there shouldn't be any excuse.
What this performance tries to convey is one should not fear difficulties and remain diligent in one's spiritual cultivation.
From 1981 to 1989, the average monthly salary in Taiwan jumped from $300 to $1,200. However, from the year 2000 to 2015, monthly salary growth has been less than $300. Project-based work as well as part-time duties have led many middle-aged people to engage in low-pay work. And once their parents become ill, many have had to give up their jobs and be the family caregivers. This not only leads to more physical and psychological pressure, but also creates extra hardship for these families who are now the middle-aged poor. Today, we take a closer look at Taiwan's aging population and the long-term difficulties the middle-aged poor faces.
Suffering from Parkinson's disease, Grandpa's hands and feet constantly shake, which led to a fall once, which caused bleeding in his brain.
When I was unconscious, my grandchildren were at my side caring for me.
After becoming busy caring for Grandpa, not long thereafter, Grandmother also fell ill and sometimes can't even recognize family members as she is diagnosed with dementia. This elderly woman seems to think a 100 NT dollar banknote is just 1 NT dollar, as she seems to be stuck in the old days. Mr. Zhang originally operated a restaurant but had to stop suddenly to devote his full attention to caring for his grandparents. Middle-aged families like Mr. Zhang, who have no jobs, have long been burdened with caring for family members, pushing them closer into poverty, creating a new condition described as the middle-aged poor.
Letting these caregiver families fall to the verge of poverty means that these families are paying a large amount to care for the cost of this care.
Most of the middle-aged poor entered the workforce in the 1980s and were too late to catch the last economic boom, but instead felt the pain of Taiwan's industrial relocation, and after 2000 were hit by 2 successive eras of negative economic growth. These factors all resulted in wage stagnation.
Suddenly, when he fell ill, it was just like a domino effect.
If you don't care about the family of caregivers, then they could potentially go out and do something bad.
在北市呢，有个何姓父亲，他照顾脑麻儿子接达21年，杀死儿子。
Some news reported in society shows that family caregivers brought those they were looking after to end their life. I have personally gone through such up and down moods.
The number of people in Taiwan suffering from dementia or disabilities or physical and mental handicaps is some 760,000. Nearly 30% are cared for by foreign care workers, and 15% are looked after in government long-term care centers. In other words, 55% of the burden of care is undertaken by family members on their own. This highlights a major loophole in the long-term care safety net.
In my heart, there's a big question mark. Why me?
等一下吃饭了哈，我去看哦。 按摩一下哈。
Alone in having the burden of caring for her father, Mrs. He has never been married.
Taking care of my parents has delayed me from looking after my own affairs.
From the expression of these caregivers, we can see that they are truly feeling helpless.
A recent survey found that 76% of home caregivers are women, such as daughters and daughters-in-law, who take care of their parents and their parents-in-law. Only 24% of the elderly are taken care of by their sons, showing an inequality among the sexes.
When my father is unhappy, he will use his fists to beat people. We know that he is sick, but sometimes we can't understand the situation.
Eventually, these hidden middle-aged caregivers will also be the ones who will need to be taken care of later in life.
At the moment, there are more than 2 million hidden caregivers in Taiwan. At the moment, the current social safety net only covers 10% of families who need such care, and the majority of the work is carried out by middle-aged family caregivers.
I used to hide in the toilet and cry and almost collapse because I felt that my life was so bitter and hard.
When 60% of the families are taking good care of their sick elders, this dramatically reduces the demand for government assistance and funding costs.
再见，探几啊？哎呀，妈咪，阿公阿妈，好，吃饭 ，OK， 好，拜拜 ，OK， 拜拜。
Instead of looking forward to government subsidies, middle-aged family caregivers such as Mr. Zhang are seeking other ways to help themselves out of poverty, such as going out to do foot massage.
睡得好吗？
The demands of work and caring for grandparents leads him to burn the candle at both ends, but in his opinion, it is all worth it.
When I was a child, my grandmother would take care of me and ask me if I would take care of her when I grew older, and I said that I would.
In 2015, the government finally put together an assistance program for family caregivers as part of the Long-Term Care Service Act. This means that middle-aged family caregivers are no longer alone and can have access to government resources.
At present, the Long-Term Care Act 2.0 instructs the government to act in such a way, but in practical terms, we haven't seen its effectiveness.
The success or failure of the Long-Term Care Act policy and its ability to help out hidden family caregivers will be dependent on its ability to look past medical issues and truly support the physical, emotional, and financial toll taken on families and those requiring care.
Next, we'll see how some students at the Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology celebrated the winter solstice holiday.
分好一颗一颗的时候，就把它搓成圆的，用掌心这样。
These students are watching a demonstration on how to make tangyuan. They are all students at Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology. Foreign students were also invited to take part, and some from Malaysia said the activity made them think of home.
This makes me think of when I was little, when everyone would get together to make tangyuan. When I go back, I may ask my father if we can do something like this again, together with the family in the future.
有一个湖，有一个圆，我们叫的湖圆香水。
Not only are the students making tangyuan, but a Tzu Chi volunteer is also offering some simple calligraphy lessons and letting the students write some characters to ask for blessings in the new year.
To greet the new year, I decided to write the words auspicious blessings. That's because I hope that the next year will be peaceful and pass smoothly. That's what the words mean.
30 students are from foreign countries, and even though they can't enjoy the holiday at home, Ida mothers at Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology are creating a homely atmosphere for the students with a feast of hot pot and delicious vegetarian cuisine.
We want to create the feeling that they have gone home. I don't think they were expecting this much of a feast, so I think they are all quite happy.
Making tangyuan and practicing calligraphy, along with the delicious meal provided by Ida mothers, are giving these foreign students a feeling of home for the holiday.
As the winter solstice arrived on the 21st of December, people all over Taiwan are enjoying tangyuan or glutinous rice balls. However, for some elderly people, glutinous rice can be difficult to digest. At the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital, care recipients, along with their family and staff, have been preparing special tangyuan with sweet potato flour instead of glutinous rice, which is easier to digest.
These care recipients and their family members are making tangyuan together here at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital. But these tangyuan are a little different from the traditional recipe. Glutinous rice powder has been replaced with sweet potato flour to aid in digestion. And instead of artificial coloring, carotene from yellow melon and purple anthocyanin have been used to add a bit of dietary fiber.
They are not too sticky for the elderly people to chew, so they are more suitable. And some people's stomachs cannot handle the glutinous rice so well, so these are good for them.
Soup traditionally accompanies the tangyuan, but this soup recipe is extra special as it includes 16 medicinal herbs from Chinese medicine.
The digestion process of the elderly may not be so good, so in the soup we added a few things to help the digestion, like porrhea and codonopsis.
This is 80-year-old Ah Shi, who suffers from stomach problems. She says tangyuan is one of her favorite foods.
These tangyuan are not too sticky, and it seems like they will be easier to digest, and they are also higher in fiber.
As these elderly celebrate the arrival of winter with the traditional snack of tangyuan, staff at Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital are making sure the snacks are as healthy and as tasty as possible.
Li Yizhen owns a horse farm in Qiaotou district of Kaohsiung. When she began her business 2 years ago, she faced a shortage of workers. After she discovered that treating animals can help the disabled develop their patience and concentration, she decided to give them a chance to work. This horse is from Belgium. We won a prize at the CSI event this year. We won 5th place in the international team competitions.
Li Yizhen is quite familiar with horse issues. She also treats these horses with a mother's heart.
This horse is called Moranti because it was born on the day of the typhoon. It suffered from hypothermia at birth, which almost caused its death.
On the day of the typhoon, the mother horse gave birth to baby horses. Despite the heavy rainstorm, everyone worked with one heart to save their lives. Li shows her benevolent heart in many different ways.
I told them the only work they need to do was to take good care of these horses, and they made it. I think no one else can do it better than them. I keep hiring disabled people because I can see that it helps them improve their condition.
Miss Li faced a shortage in her workforce when she started running her horse farm. However, after she discovered that treating animals can help disabled people develop their patience and concentration, she decided to give them a chance to work. Now she has 4 disabled employees at her farm.
Giving disabled friends a chance to experience the workplace is very important and helpful for them to enter the workforce.
Miss Li sets a good example for others to understand more about the less fortunate, and she provides them with more opportunities to showcase their potential.
In our next report, we'll meet 2 employees of Li Yizhen's horse farm, 32-year-old Guo Yanting, who suffers from polio, and 21-year-old Xie Jiayi, who is mentally disabled. Xie used to keep to herself when young, but now thanks to her job, she's able to teach other people how to ride a horse, and she has also earned an equestrian certification.
Xie Jiayi is giving very clear instructions as she executes each step. Few can believe that she's mentally challenged. Before she started to work at this farm, she didn't even utter a single word each day.
看出我开口想什么都
第一次还被马吓到，
我没有吓到，
是妈妈吓到。
对。
When it comes to work, Xie feels quite confident as she has worked at the farm for almost 1 year. She is not only able to clean the stable, but can also lead the horses to certain places because she has obtained the B1 equestrian certification. And this is Guo Yanting, who is cleaning up the farm. Many people can see that he suffers from some mobility issues. However, after 8 months of work, he has broken through these physical challenges. People may not have the courage to mount this horse, which is much taller than Yanting, but he says,
My boss gave me the chance to do this work. The reason I ride the horse is because I don't have good balance. I want to improve this condition by riding the horse.
In the past, 32-year-old Yanting went through many obstacles, such as mobility issues in the pursuit of his career. However, both he and Jiayi treat the horses passionately, and they found that they can showcase their potential at this farm, which also encouraged them to bravely take on many challenges.
Yanting is a man who has independent thoughts. He is very smart, but he has many obstacles in his life due to his illness. Despite the situation, he does everything he wants bravely.
Jiayi and Yanting have turned over a new leaf because they have challenged themselves and are trying to reach their full potential.
Since environmental concerns have become a global issue, Taiwan's If Kids Theater Troupe recently partnered with Dream Lotus Culture and Art Foundation to perform a children's musical, Baby Bear's Dream, to raise everyone's awareness of environmental issues as well as encourage children to safeguard Mother Earth.
Polar bears, which inhabit the sea ice, are facing the loss of their habitat because humans bring damage to the environment. The musical drama Baby Bear's Dream is demonstrating this environmental issue.
We can see that mother polar bears share their love with their baby bears. If we apply this idea to environmental protection, kids will understand this kind of love when our planet is greatly harmed.
Transforming humans' greed, anger, and innocence into concrete characters, along with dance and music, can entertain the audience while making them think about the meaning of saving lives.
Music itself can touch people easily. It also expresses ideas. People's inner conviction is actually quite moderate, and it depends on our choice and wisdom.
With the right thoughts and actions, everything in the world will coexist peacefully. This musical drama encourages everyone to safeguard Mother Earth by reducing the use of plastics, growing more trees, and embracing vegetarianism.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Taichung have long cared for detainees at the detention center. Thus, a year-end celebration was held there recently. The detainees also put on a beautiful performance filled with musical talents of violin and drumming. Seeing how much these detainees have changed over time moved the volunteers to tears. That's all the time we have for today at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.